Hi, I'm Andrea with Reliable Beauty Reviews, and I have a confession. I thought I knew what to look for when buying extra virgin olive oil. I happen to come from an Italian family, and olive oil has always been a staple in my home. But after visiting an olive oil store in my area, I realized there was a lot more to that bottle in my kitchen than I ever knew. Today, I visited Humble Olive Oils in San Diego County, where they carry extra virgin olive oils from countries like Greece, Italy, Spain, Peru, and many others. They also carry different balsamic vinegars, but today I was in the market for extra virgin olive oil, and I learned so many things that changed the way I'm going to shop for olive oils going forward. One of the first things I learned is that extra virgin olive oil does not have to burn your throat to be real. To begin, I met with the owner of Humble Olive Oils. His name is Zach, and he let me taste two very different extra virgin olive oils. One was mild and delicate, the other was much stronger. After swallowing the stronger oil, I could feel a peppery sensation gradually building in the back of my throat. I was told that where the olives are grown can make a difference in their polyphenol levels. Some regions produce oils that are naturally higher in polyphenols, which can give the oil that stronger peppery sensation, while other oils can be much milder and smoother. Here's the important part. Both oils I tested were genuine extra virgin olive oils. The mild ones simply had a more delicate flavor. So don't assume that a peppery oil is automatically better or that a mild oil isn't real. Now let's get into the taste test. Zach told me that fresh olive oil should have a fresh, grassy taste, or something that tastes like cut grass. I didn't personally think mine tasted like grass. To me, it tasted like a fresh olive. The milder one tasted like an olive. Professional olive oil tasters also look for positive characteristics such as fruitiness while checking for undesirable flavors and aromas. But here's the important distinction. Your taste buds can give you clues, but they can't certify an oil. That's where lab testing comes in. Extra virgin isn't simply a marketing phrase. An oil has to meet specific chemical and sensory requirements to qualify as extra virgin. That's where I learned about something called the UP standard. UP stands for Ultra Premium. UP is a private olive oil standard developed and administered by Veronica Foods, which also supplies oils to Humble Olive Oils. The program uses lab analysis and sensory evaluation along with requirements for things like production, traceability, and freshness. One thing I found particularly interesting is that the UP program looks at 6 areas of chemical analysis when evaluating the oil. This chart from the UP website shows the specific measurements and limits used by the standard. So there's more involved than simply looking at the color or tasting the oil. And I'll add, there are other certification programs. However, Humble Olive Oil stands behind the UP standard. Now, I want to make something very clear. What I'm about to share with you is what I was told during my visit. These were the store owner's words, not mine. I was told that a large amount of olive oil on the market can be lower quality, including oil made from olives that were overripe or poorly handled. I was told that some lower quality oils can undergo refining before they're sold, which caught my attention because it made me realize just how much goes on behind the scenes before olive oil reaches the store shelf. First cold press olive oil means oil extracted mechanically from olives during the initial pressing without excessive heat or chemical solvents. The phrase is largely traditional today because modern olive oil is usually extracted by centrifugation rather than pressing. For the highest quality extra virgin olive oil, look for a recent harvest date or a crushing date. Make sure the bottle is in a dark glass package and make sure you store it in a cool place away from the heat and the light. Here's something that really changed how I look at an olive oil bottle from now on. Don't rely on the best by date or the expiration date to determine the freshness. Look for the harvest date or the crush date, because what you really want to know is when were these olives harvested and turned into oil. Olives generally have one main harvest each year. After they're harvested and processed, the oil can be stored in protective stainless steel tanks, which is not uncommon. It doesn't necessarily go straight into the bottle. So, for example, an oil could be harvested and crushed in November, while some of that oil isn't bottled until months later. The harvest or the crush date tells you when the oil was produced, not necessarily when the particular bottle was filled. I even asked about the crush date when I was at Humble Olive Oils. I was told that oils do have crush dates on them, and they were currently looking for putting the UP seal on their bottles, and that's fine. But when I got home and I looked at the bottle I purchased, I couldn't find the crush date. Now, I'm giving the store the benefit of the doubt. I had a very informative conversation with the owner, and I felt the person I spoke to was genuinely knowledgeable and interested in helping me understand olive oil. I'm sure I could call and probably get the crush date for the particular lot I purchased, but without that date printed on the bottle, I'd have to take the owner's word for it, or whoever answered the call. And personally, I'd rather have that information right there on the bottle. So from now on, I'm looking for a harvest or crush date, where the olives came from, who produced the oil, and whether the oil has been tested. And of course, I want it to smell and taste fresh, because great olive oil doesn't have to burn your throat. It can be delicate, fruity like a fresh olive, robust and peppery, or perhaps grassy like the owner of Humble Oils mentioned. And once you taste truly fresh olive oil, you may never look at that bottle in your kitchen the same way again. I'm Andrea with Reliable Beauty Reviews, and that's my review on EVOO. Ciao for now.